Good morning, boys and girls, moms and dads, everybody in Viewerland. Thanks for tuning in. And today we have a special guest all the way from Tennessee. The one, the only, the lovely Don Johnson.
The lovely Don Johnson.
So we just heard our Generac shut down after its weekly test. Anything you want to ask me about?
Yeah, I'm really concerned with when you open it up to do your checks. Could you take me through that like on a 1, 2, 3 step?
Sure. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is both sides are locked, boys and girls, so have your handy dandy key ready.
All right.
And you open up both sides. And then you open her up. Now it's cooled off. It's been a while. It's been about a half hour, and we let it cool down. So the first thing we're going to want to do is the green light's on here, camera lady. If you get the green light. Now we're going to go ahead and activate the red button, the off button. So go ahead and push the off button for us, Don. And now it's off. Now take a look at what color light do we have on the side.
Red.
That's because these are auto start and they'll start up by themselves. So we want to make sure that it's safe to work on. It's okay to possibly check the oil, but you're always safer turning off the generator so it doesn't start. So just grab your front cover and take a look at her. What we're going to want to inspect for, there's a little dust bunny here, but we don't have any oil leaks. You want to inspect your filter to make sure that there's no oil leaks. Look underneath the generator and all the equipment in here. Get the bugs out that we just let in, the earwigs. But you just want to do a quick check and make sure you have no oil leaks or any issues with anything. So make sure all your clamps are tight, you don't have any oil leaks. That's good. So
Now, when you do your checks, do you occasionally find a problem like an oil leak, or is this pretty much a pretty safe setup unit?
pretty safe setup unit. Other than when you change the oil filter, it might not have tightened on. The most important thing when you do an oil filter is you take it off and you look in the oil filter, make sure that that rubber gasket stayed in the oil filter, it's not on the unit. Because if you screw another oil filter on that and it's doubled up with the gaskets, it'll leak out all the oil.
So check that seal before you do anything as far as replacement.
Right.
Okay.
So take a look at your oil filter, make sure that there's no leaks and everything's good. So we've done that. This is where you drain your oil. You take the cap down,
Right.
and you drain your oil. This is where you put in your oil, and that's where we check it. So we can carefully put this back on at this point, now that we've checked everything.
How hard is it to get those 2 pins in when you're putting that front back on?
You got to play with it a few times, and that's what I was going to bring up. You want to make sure that those 2 pins go back in, and it's secure all the way with the gasket to stop bugs and the rodents from getting in your machine. So always make sure to take a look at that and make sure that that's secure. So now you just simply take out your dipstick, and then you put it back in. Just take your time and play with it a little bit for lining it up.
Now, how often you change the oil?
Every year or 50 hours. And I'm right where I should be, and there's no milkiness and that's totally clear, clean oil.
Yeah, that is clear.
So we were right where we have to be. I keep plenty of oil and filters on hand. The one thing you want to check in the winter that a lot of people don't is this housing. It's kind of a fun thing to get off, but there's the air filter.
Okay.
And then you take the air filter out, and sometimes you'll see some oil in here. And you just simply wipe out that little bit of oil. But what happens in the winter is with those 5-minute runs, those test runs, it builds up condensation, water in here.
Okay.
And when the water gets to this one here, it blocks it.
Now, what if a person lives, I don't know, maybe in a spot where they don't get the frigid nights like you do? What are you going to see if you do that?
Well,
Is there going to be like, will it have an opportunity to frost up at all?
right, it'll be moisture in here in the winter, and it'll freeze into a chunk of ice.
Gotcha.
The chunk of ice is going to block this little hole. That's the breather for the air, for the oil. So what'll happen is the dipstick will blow out and shoot oil all over the machine. The machine's going to sense the oil and shut down.
Okay.
So that protects itself. But
If that's the case, you're going to open this up, and the first thing you're going to see is that sticking 2/3 of the way out.
The stick is going to stick out oil all
Gotcha.
over the machine.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
and 99.9% of the time it causes this ice right here.
Okay.
So in the winter on your runs, do yourself a favor and take this thing off and check it and make sure it's clear. Because I have found it in there in the winter. A little bit of moisture. So, and putting this thing back on is a lot of fun too.
Now when you do your checks and everything, yours goes automatically to high idle and it stays there.
It goes to automatically to high idle and stays
Okay,
there.
see mine in Tennessee will do a step down.
Right, and that's okay where you're at, but up here you're going to want the high idle to try and reduce that moisture happening inside your unit. So we've checked it out. We checked our air filter. Make sure you saw a little bit of oil in there, but in the winter you're going to find moisture in there, condensation from the short runs, and it doesn't burn off. So then it ends up freezing and blocking up that breather on you.
How often are you going to find these blowing?
Never. And then
So they're just like a breaker without a break.
here's your
Got it.
Here's your shutdown on the inside.
Okay.
And there's one on the back of the generator right here, and that shuts
So
it down.
it's right here.
Yep, and that'll turn it to red light too. You'll
Okay.
have to clear that code.
Okay.
But we've checked everything, so we can go ahead and go back to green, to auto. And we should have a green light if the camera lady gets that. on the
We
side.
definitely do.
And there you go. Ready to run hours of protection. Now don't put your hands in there, because if there happens to be a power failure, this baby's going to start up and you don't want your hands in there.
Right.
So the other important thing is when you put your lid down, make sure you lock it. And don't just lock the one side. Pull on it now. It's secure.
Mm-hmm.
The other side, not so secure. So make sure you secure both sides so your lid doesn't blow down the street in a bad situation, and it's nice and secure.
Excellent.
So that's pretty much it for the weekly check after it runs. This is what happens that you don't get to see. I always say check your oil, but that's what I kind of do about a half hour after it's done, when it's nice and cool and you can get in there and touch stuff without burning your fingers and hands. So what do you think?
Well, I really appreciate the chance to go over it, just kind of as a backup to see how other people do theirs. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
And now
Good job.
You'll do it when you get home too.
Yes, I
on
will.
Mondays. All
Yes,
right.
I will.
So sayonara, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Say so long to the boys and girls, Don.
Take care. Be good. Get a Generac.